Welcome back to the Coding and Analysis YouTube channel. So in today's video, I'm going to cover the Seaborn and the matplotlib for the random forest regressor results, model results. So we're computing the R-square and the MAE for the whole data set, not just for the testing and not just for the training, but for the whole data set. So it's going to be combined. So this all predictions is the concatenated data frame we got with the results, the RB predictions, wide receiver tight end predictions, quarterback predictions, and we got that from here, from the function that we used, and from the parameters that we used with the features and all that good stuff. So now we want to do, get the R squared, the MAE, and so that's going to populate on our chart, and then we want to get the residuals to find the largest errors. So that's where NumPy follows in. We want to get the absolute number. So we're getting the CBS model minus our random forest regressor model, and then this is where we're getting the we're going to populate the top five biggest errors, and then we're going to use the color palette for the each fantasy position. So this is orange, this is blue, this is green. And then we're using matplotlib with the alias as PLT. Plot all this, so this will be the size, the figure size of the plot. We're using a scatter plot, and the data is that concatenated data frame that we used in the random forest regressor model, and the x-axis is the CBS predicted PPR scores, and the y-axis is going to be our random forest regressor models predicted PPR scores, and then the U, or the color, is going to be my fantasy position, and the style will be the data split, the training, and the test. And then this is where we're getting our colors. We're adding our colors into here. And then we're getting the diagonal line, and this is how we're plotting the diagonal line. We're starting off with the minimum value, then the max value. So we're basically starting from 0 to the highest number, 450, and then we're having a diagonal. And then this is how we're getting the diagonal to populate on the chart. And then this is, we're annotating the top residual outliers. We're putting their names up there, so they're using a for loop, so the players' names will be in the chart as well, and then the titles and labels. So this is predicted versus the actual fantasy points. I guess really should be predicted versus the random forest predicted versus the CBS predicted fantasy football points, but I guess it's like predicted versus actual predicted fantasy points. So whatever, it's fine. So the X label, the actual predicted fantasy points for 2025, and then Y is the predicted fantasy points for that our model used. And then we're showing the R square and the MAE, we're putting that on the plot. And then we're just saying, this box right here, put the R square and the MAE with the 3 decimals afterwards, 2 decimals afterwards. And then we're putting the legend down on the lower right. So you can see here the U and the style with the train, the test. So train's going to be a circle, test is going to be X. And then we're doing a type layout, and then we're doing a plt.show method, and then that's going to show the results. And then you can see here the residuals. We populated the names, Keenan Allen, Anthony Richardson, Christian McCaffrey, Justin Fields, and Joe Burrow. I think we talked about so Keenan Allen. So I think 2024 he had like 180 points, his football points, but then in 2023 he had uh, a lot more. It was 250 or 280 or something like that. I'm not quite sure. So I think the model, I think when we were looking at the feature importance, it's taking in some of the 2023 data as well. And though it's a small amount, I think it's helping Keenan Allen get that higher amount right here, because I even have him listed as a backup, and projected role would be 1.7%. So I wouldn't really deal too much, factor in much, or even the health grade. He's getting older. That's only factor in 1.7%. So we have Keenan Allen as outperforming the CBS model. Then Anthony Richardson, Christian McCaffrey, Justin Fields, and Joe Burrow. So I think we talked about these. Christian McCaffrey, because he was hurt last year, and the running backs, it was focusing a lot on the 2024 stats. And then Anthony Richardson, I have him as a backup, or more like a hybrid player, I guess. And for some reason, I can't explain it, but the quarterback feature importance, the projected role is at 46%, which is pretty wild. And then the touchdowns, rush yards, passing touchdowns for 2024, and he was hurt last season as well, so that's why his numbers are going to be lower compared to the CBS model. And then Justin Fields, just like that as well. Once Russell Wilson got in, he didn't play the latter half of the NFL season. It was Russell Wilson playing, so his stats were affecting that. So that's why he has a lower score. And then Joe Burrow, the model, CBS model has it as like 400 and let's see, 439, which that seems very optimistic compared to ours, which is 203, which uh seems too cautious. So probably 250, maybe close to 300 would be better. So it seems like both models, CBS model kind of failed here, in our model. Let's see. Maybe I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at the wrong thing. Whoops. So Justin Fields, he's having 203. So he's having 203 because of his lower stats from 2024. So the Joe Burrow, the 439 is the CBS, and ours is 297. So yeah, so 297 more accurate, probably. The CBS model, that's very optimistic, and ours might be slightly cautious, but 300, between 300 and 350 would probably be a good score for him. So I would go with our model, especially if he could possibly get hurt. Yeah, if he would have a crazy season, it'd be 439. So these CBS predictions are very optimistic for some of the top players. So that's that. And then right here, I did a printing out the most overvalued fantasy players at Keenan Allen, 250, and their models, CBS model, factoring in that he doesn't even really have a team yet, and And our our model is like, oh man, he's gonna find a team, he's gonna just go crazy. So maybe he might be an interesting sleeper pick in that fantasy football if you want to take a flyer on him. But so Keenan Allen, so he was a residual 120, and then Christian McCaffrey 124, 105, Anthony Richardson, and then Justin Fields. Oh, looking at the wrong thing. So Christian McCaffrey 167 difference, 164 difference, 153 difference, 141 difference. So those are the top 5 residuals. So in the next video, I'm going to walk through and do the cross validation, k-fold cross validation, and it's going to be a more realistic modeling instead of an 80-20 test split. So I'm going to do that next video. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye.